Thank you. On the 24th of April 2019, when I made a statement about the Easter bomb, I suspected that there was some kind of an international connection the way the bombing was taken. However, looking at the evidence of senior DIG Ravi Senivirathne, the head of the CID of that time, and he was appointed by President Mahinda Rajapaksa, it looks like there is no evidence, no ISIS connection, because there is no evidence that there were funds coming into the country, no evidence of training, no evidence of logistical support, no evidence of a communication link, and also the explosives that were used were explosives that had been really local. So that's one. Second point is there somebody above Saharan? Now, Abu Hind talks regularly to Saharan. Hadia, the wife, says so, and Hadia says, I'm asked to leave the room. Secondly, now for Maulavi, the theoretician of the National Tawfiq Jamaat, the NTJ, and Saharan's team clash. And what do they clash about? They had planned an attack in 2020, they want to bring it to 2019. Saharan returns after the clash 2 days later, and he says, no, we are going to execute things faster. Thirdly, we need to think about it. If a suicide bomber is to explode, they had also deployed another cadre in case he doesn't explode, called Rila, to take them away if a suicide bomber doesn't. So if Saharan dies, then somebody else is left behind. So this naturally leads to the conclusion there are others above Saharan. We know Jamil leaves the Taj Samudra. CCTV cameras showed that Jamil received a call, and then Asad Maulana says that Saleh called him and wanted him to rescue Jamil. Whether that evidence is right or wrong, that is up to the investigators to actually look at. We won't come into any conclusion about that. But due to the doubt, and Maulana may not act, a military intelligence team goes to Jamil's home and Jamil's mother's home in Dematagoda and in Vallampitiya. Jamil goes to the Tropical Inn in Dehivala, taken by a three-wheel driver. He keeps a bomb. He goes to the mosque in Dehivala. Worshippers are troubled by his presence. The security company which looks after the mosque, the agent comes and questions Jamil. Jamil says, I had a disagreement with my wife and I came here. Then the agent takes a call to the wife, and the wife says the same story. The husband's and wife's stories actually tally. So the security agent basically releases Jamil. We know the story. He goes to the Tropical Inn, the bomb explodes. Now the question is this: why did the military intelligence then go to Jamil's house? That's really another question. These are unanswered questions. And then, right, according to the information, right, when they were questioned, they said they were surveillancing Jamil. If they were surveillancing Jamil, what happened on the 20th? What happened on the 21st? Where was the surveillance of Jamil? So these are unanswered questions. Then Shani Abesekara, right, is being basically removed and transferred. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa promised that when he is elected, that he will go after justice and establish justice and get to the bottom of this. But after he was elected, he completely forgot all of that, and he really went after individuals. So Shani Abesekara was on the 21st of November 2019 transferred as a PA to the DIG Gaul. And see what happened to him. And subsequently, he was even interdicted on the 7th of January. Unfortunately, ex-President Gotabaya Rajapaksa recently made a statement saying that he transferred Shani Abesekara because of the Ranjan Ramanayaka tapes. He transferred him on the 21st of November 2019, but actually Ranjan Ramanayaka tapes came out on the 4th of January 2020. So that statement is not an accurate statement, and I have to unfortunately mention that. Shani Abesekara hasn't even been given his basically pension, though the AAT has determined that he should receive his pension, and even the commission has actually, the police commission has approved it. In February 19, 2019, Hadia and Sarah Jasmine, that's Hastun, the suicide bomber of Katua Pitya, are together, and they established Saharan's identity by a photograph. The
you have 2 more minutes.
The wives were not arrested because they had not committed a crime. Subsequently, Shani Abesekara is implicated in the Vasgunawardana case. held for 10 months and subsequently released because there is no evidence and he's exonerated. It's very, very unfortunate that this kind of thing can actually happen. Sahara Jasmine, either she is alive or dead, 3 DNA tests, 2 prove nothing. The third one was again introduced. We don't know. Hadia's evidence suggests that she is alive, and we don't know. These are things for investigators to establish. We, as parliamentarians, can't say anything definite, but we can raise the questions. So, the revelation, what are we trying here? 274 deaths, 41 foreign nationals. Who is responsible? Who was the brains behind this? Suicide bombers, obviously, those who aided and abetted. The failure of the intelligence service has been established. Of course, we would like them to clear themselves by actually having an independent investigation, and therefore independent investigation is necessary. Now, I have a few suggestions. One is the National Security Council must be legislated, because you can't have a situation where the Prime Minister says that he didn't actually go. We can't leave it only to a president to decide. It should be actually legislated. An international investigation is needed. Now, can an investigation be held when some of the people mentioned are in these positions is another question. The president has a legal and moral responsibility. On the day of the bombing, our former MP Ajit Pereira, Harsha De Silva, my colleague here, Mujib Rahman, and I went to Temple Trees and subsequently to the Defence Ministry. We went there, and then we were showed into the Security Council. And we were thinking that we were not really satisfied with what we had actually heard. And then Ruan Vijayawardena subsequently called a press conference. And I'm just saying this. I walked in with the press conference with him. And at the press conference, we decided to declare an all-island curfew, even though we had no approval. And I want to state that, because of Ruan's courage, I want to state that he actually did that. Because we didn't want,
Honourable Member, please wind up.
We didn't want a repetition of 1983. We didn't want it. We didn't want anything to go wrong on the streets. But even though we were going to be sacked, Ruan and I decided that we should declare an all-island curfew and bring things under control. So I would like to conclude with this, that President Wickremesinghe, when he was Prime Minister, on the 17th of May 2022, and this was brought up by Niroshan Pereira yesterday as he opened this debate, he said that he will provide international expertise necessary to establish about the Easter bombing. This was in reply to Manusha Nanayakkara and Harin Fernando, present ministers, in response to their letter
Please
to him.
Wind up,
Daily News of July 19, 2022. Now he was acting president of the country. Ranil Wickremesinghe is quoted in the Daily News as saying, "We'll seek the assistance of the British government and the police authorities in the investigation of the Easter Sunday terrorist attacks that killed nearly 270 people due to the incomplete nature of the investigation into the incident." As Prime Minister, as acting president, and I would like to ask now, as president of the country, Mr. President, what are you going to do? This needs an independent investigation acceptable to everybody. And then prosecution. We want to make sure that prosecution is in the Sri Lankan jurisdiction, not overseas, in the Sri Lankan jurisdiction. But if we don't have a proper investigation, unfortunately, like other things that have happened to this country, it is foreigners who will interfere in our internal affairs. Thank you very much for the time given.
Thank you, Garu.